Hey, what's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am front row as always, joined by Tony Justice, the greatest truck driver of all time, and Debhausen, the great and powerful. And off camera, we have Mongrovian Mike tonight from an undisclosed location. We got him on audio though tonight. How's everybody doing?
Doing
Okay.
good, man. Doing good.
Cool. Well, it's been another eventful week. We say that every week, right? Lots of stuff going on. Last weekend, just real quick, we were at in San Antonio for Mission Pro Wrestling's Kickstart My Heart. Really great pay-per-view. If you missed it, go back and check out the replay on Title Match Network. Our next show is April 22nd, Edge of Glory. And the show graphics are out for that now, and it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a really fun time. But tonight we're here to talk about what we're going to see after the show at Elimination Chamber. And I think it's been a while since I've seen sort of this build-up pay-per-view leading into WrestleMania where there's so many questions on the table. And we're going to talk about some of of course, the Bloodline stuff. And there's like 6 different stories to talk about there. But the first thing I want to dive into isn't even so much the pay-per-view tonight, but what we saw last night on Smackdown. It's very rare to see a crowd reaction like what we saw with Sami Zayn last night. And I'm sure everybody's seen either the clips or you saw it live. But that live crowd in Toronto was, or Montreal, right? Montreal was,
Yeah.
I was looking at Toronto stuff all day today. And Montreal was, I think we timed it. It was over 6 minutes that they chanted for Sami. And he only had, I think, 9 minutes to cut a promo. So he had to kind of rush through his stuff. So I want to get your feelings on sort of how hot is Sami Zayn? Is there a chance that he could walk away tonight as the new champion?
Oh boy. It's really like a very difficult question because there's so many implications for this match. There's the, if Sami doesn't win, we riot. Like it's Montreal, it's hometown. But do we see Roman losing before we get to WrestleMania? That's a whole other thing. Are we gonna go to WrestleMania and Roman's not gonna have the belts?
Yeah, so and that's the point, right? So Tony, if you look at this objectively, typically when they have a babyface that's this hot and is on this much of a rise, logically we would think he would be going into a major pay-per-view with a good chance of winning. But with Roman being the champion for over 900 days, the face of the company, and all the great stuff over the 2.5 years that we've seen, is there any chance that he could win and that Sami could win? And what happens in this hometown if he loses?
Yeah, there's always a chance. I mean, never say never with WWE, right? But I mean, yeah, with Roman, eclipsing 900 days, and with the story they've got built up with, and you don't want to talk about Cody, but I mean, the story they're building up with Cody to take the title off of Roman. I mean, you don't want to just have Sami beat him and then WrestleMania becomes for what? A match with Roman Reigns. Right. It's I understand they're in the hometown, but I mean, we've seen things happen in the hometown of usually when someone's in their hometown, they're getting their ass beat, or they're getting heat on them. So
yeah,
I don't see it happening tonight. There's a chance. There's always a chance. So whatever the case, it's going to be. I mean, I'm pumped up for Elimination Chamber for the first time in a long time. Like they're making you want to tune into Elimination Chamber. Usually it was a throwaway pay-per-view kind of, yeah.
Right.
But now the story is so good, it's making you want to tune in to find out what happens, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and our Mongrovian Mike has been a fan for I think 300 or 400 years now. So I want to get his thoughts on what we saw on Raw. We saw Cody and Sami have a back and forth. Cody coming into this Monday Night Raw people were sort of feeling that he might be shoehorned into the story, and of course the storyline is the bloodline and all this other stuff. I came away from Raw feeling like Sami and Cody elevated each other to the point where Cody wants Sami to win, so he sided with the fans, which was a really smart way to tell that story. But the emotion that was in that was, and we said this 2 weeks ago that Cody had cut a career high promo, and then a week later we see him do it again. So
right,
yeah. These two guys are like, they had to do that with Cody because you don't want the backlash on Cody for Sami not winning the belt tonight. So they had to be in each other's corner, and he had to support Sami in this match, because if he would have just went out there, and then plus if they would have just shoehorned it too, like he said, made it like a triple threat, nobody wants that crap. And this is what they had to do. This way, at least everyone's going to be, the roof's going to get blown off tonight, no matter what. And then when it comes time for WrestleMania, that Cody, I believe, is 100% going to have his WrestleMania moment. So,
yeah. So there's something that I wanted to bring up. I saw the comparisons being made last night on Twitter, and it made me go back and watch it this afternoon while I was at work. I went back and watched ECW One Night Stand 2006, Cena versus RVD for the WWE Championship. And, I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, have seen it before. But if you haven't seen it or haven't seen it in a while, go on Peacock and watch this match. It's RVD in the Hammerstein Ballroom in front of an ECW crowd. Going for his first, world title, his first major title. And Cena is, that he wasn't in super hated Cena phase then, but he was going against the, the homeboy, the hometown guy, so to speak. So if you watch it back, I watched it this afternoon, just a few hours ago. RVD comes out for his entrance first, and the reaction that he gets is just absolutely mind-blowing. That ECW crowd, they're chanting, they're screaming, they're doing the whole fucking show. It's crazy. Cena comes out, and the boos for Cena were so loud. There is not one single person in that entire crowd that was cheering for Cena for 1 second for that entire match. And the crowd was chanting the whole time, in unison, as if they pre-planned their chants. That's how completely, on board the whole crowd was with RVD. And if you go back and watch it, it's some pretty funny stuff. They're chanting "You can't wrestle" at Cena. They're chanting "Cena swallows." It's just, but it's remarkable. And I saw the comparisons being made to what we saw from Sami and that Montreal crowd last night. The hometown crowd. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the first time WWE's been in Montreal in a little while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So, and especially with this run that Sami's on, the crowd is just so excited to see him. And that reaction we saw last night where, they were cheering and chanting for him for 6 minutes straight. And we saw he was in tears, he was blown away by the reaction. So I want to get your guys' take on that comparison to the Cena versus RVD and if you think that comparison is accurate.
I think so, because we've seen Roman become the cool heel. He was becoming popular. Obviously, everybody loves what he's doing. It's always fun to boo the bad guys, but we all respect Roman for what he's doing. But then the beat down of Sami changed a lot of people to really honestly get legitimate boos. And the way that the crowd reacted to Sami last night, to your comparison, you have a white hot baby face against a legitimate bad guy, a vicious killer. And even to your comparison, they were cursing on TV last night. They had to mute like a minute of that promo because the crowd was chanting "Fuck you, Roman." Sami drops an F-bomb in French in his promo. I think he said, "You're in my fucking house" or something like that. And so there's definitely a lot of comparisons there, and it's really hard these days to get a very clear, definitive, like good guy, bad guy vibe. There's always something in the middle. But boy, they've done such a good job of building tonight. There's not going to be one person in that audience cheering for Roman. Not one.
Right.
So I think that's a pretty accurate comparison.
You know, right? You're right with that comparison. That's a good comparison. I also compare it to when Foley won the belt. You know, because everybody looked at him. I mean, he's just about as hairy as Sami Zayn is right now.
Yeah.
And he's just as much the part of like not looking like the face of a company, but you know what? To sell tickets, to put asses in seats, that's the face of the company. And right now, people are buying, they're putting their asses in those seats and their eyeballs on the television for Sami and the storyline of the head of the table storyline. And my prediction tonight will be Sami, the roof will be blown off. I predict Roman, the roof will be blown off in boos and fuck yous and whether French or not, I don't care. And I think the Usos are going to get a pop. I think like everybody loves the Usos and they hate Roman now. So it's very weird.
Yeah.
And Paul Heyman is easily booable.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing because Roman has been built up in this storyline where he got over naturally. We remember the, we hate Roman days. And they turned that where he got over naturally. The fans started to, respect Roman and see how much he's improved over the years and really kind of, take a liking to him. And they were able to change him from kind of the ultimate baby face that we all loved. And in like that one split second when he attacked Sami, to he's getting the insane boos and the fuck you Romans.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I want to mention Sam, our good friend Sam in Cleveland. He said the place will shake for Sami tonight. What's up, Sam? I can't wait for the finish. The finish will mean a lot. So this is fascinating because if Sami wins, he has to win clean. And if he wins clean, then what? Now you've basically put an end to Roman's chapter of the story, 900 plus days. And that screws up your whole WrestleMania picture.
Right.
If Sami loses, then that eliminates his WrestleMania dreams. So like there are serious consequences and stakes. We always say like if stories and matches need to have stakes, they need to have consequences, something that's going to mean something in the story going forward. So in this case, either way it goes tonight, whatever happens is going to have serious implications for WrestleMania, and it's probably just going to make us want to watch more, which sounds like a hype, but like it truly is. There's like 4 or 5 different storylines woven within the bloodline that could impact the main event tonight and the main event of Mania, which could be 2 Manias. Could be 2 nights at Mania. We don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the outcome is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Point I was going to make a while ago about comparisons. First of all, Elder talking about the face of the company. Well, he can't even be the face of Nation's Corner. He can't even show his face on tonight's show. Anyway,
he didn't have his makeup on.
But yeah, another comparison I would make is Hogan and Rock at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto, where I mean that crowd, they stood in the ring face to face for I don't know how long, and the crowd was just turned up for Hogan, and he was a heel at that point. And they were turned on for him, and then by the end of that match, Hogan was the face. But would you call Rock the heel? I mean, yeah, he was doing some heelish things to Hogan, but Hogan turned in that match from heel to face, and the pop that night was just amazing too. I don't know if it was as sustained as Sammy's last night, but it was up there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. So if Roman wins and there's a beatdown and there's violence and all that other stuff, you're going to get more heat, right? Which is great. But Sami has to get his comeuppance at Mania. This has to resolve itself at WrestleMania in the main event somehow. But then that doesn't even talk about Cody's involvement. Cody has stamped his ticket to the main event of WrestleMania. So like, how does this work?
Right.
So it's tremendous storytelling, and something that I think we were talking about this on Zoom the other day, like this level of storytelling and writing is so detailed and so layered. It kind of makes everything else look two-dimensional. And there's good stuff going on. Don't get me wrong. We're going to talk about this other stuff, but wow, it pales by comparison.
Yeah. And, we hear Bully on Busted Open say, like, that this has Paul Heyman's fingerprints all over it. Like, and, Bully knows Paul Heyman, just as much as, anybody in the WWE that's worked with him for years does. And it's true. I don't think, to my knowledge, there's really not that many people who have that brilliance in the creativity. Like Paul Heyman is up there with some of the most creative minds in wrestling. Mm-hmm. And I think like a testament to that is, like we were just saying, how many possibilities there are in the storyline. I remember for kind of like several years in a row for WrestleMania, it was like, I wasn't too excited for WrestleMania just because, the storylines were kind of predictable. Like you could tell the logical thing that was going to happen. With this story, there's so many possibilities that we could see happening. There's not like one, like, oh, we know that's going to happen, so, it's not that exciting. There's so many possibilities. There's so many what ifs, and that makes it way more exciting. I think this is the best build to WrestleMania we've had in a long time.
Yeah, and the ability of all of the performers, all of the wrestlers involved, their ability to control a crowd. And Mrs. Front Row points out, do you remember when Jericho came back and he just ran around the ring and got the crowd fired up?
My God, it was hilarious.
It was insane.
Oh, but I remember that was hilarious.
That displayed such a level of control over the audience. And we're seeing stuff like that here too. Just the subtle facials of everybody involved, even Solo, who doesn't do anything. He's just incredible.
Yeah. But now I want to go back and watch that clip from Jericho, because I remember that is one of the most memorable moments in my mind in wrestling for me, for whatever reason, because I thought it was hilarious that Jericho just came in, runs around the ring yelling, yeah, and then left.
In his light bright jacket. In his light bright jacket.
In the jacket.
Yeah.
Now I want to go back and watch that.
But it's a short list of people that have that command over the audience. Obviously, a lot of wrestlers can do it to some level. But what we've seen over the last, I don't know, a year or so, actually really since Sami joined the storyline like 9 or 10 months ago, it's just been insane. Yeah. And then we start to talk about, okay, we're not even folding in the Usos. Like, how are the Usos going to play into all this? What if KO comes in and saves Sami from a beatdown, and then we get Sami and KO against the Usos? Maybe they main event night one. Who knows? Right? Is that sorry. Is that enough to satisfy the Sami fans? Or do they want to see him in that singles match on night two? Well, there's a lot going on. I think we counted 7 different outcomes just from tonight, which could lead into 2 nights of WrestleMania.
There are so many layers to this Bloodline storyline. It's like those old books we used to read in school, the Choose Your Adventure books. Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Turn to page 88 if you want to do this. Yeah. Well, it wasn't called Goosebumps.
My brother had a lot of those.
It was called Choose Your Own Adventure. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like that. Just like that.
Okay, so
there. Sorry, there was. No. I don't know if you guys can remember exactly what he said, but there was this caller on Busted Open a few days ago that had this scenario about like Roman and Sami's final test that Bully actually like kind of agreed with. I can't specifically remember what it was, but I remember thinking that it was pretty brilliant.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I heard somebody else talk about this too. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Mike.
he connected all the past dots and really like they didn't poo poo on it or nothing. They were like, actually that's not, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a very good point, very good call. He pointed out that Sami would actually did all of it as a swerve to everyone, and that was the test.
I remember the detail, Mike. It culminated in Sami losing tonight and then building heat as a babyface, and then on night 2 of WrestleMania, Sami causes Cody the loss, demonstrating that he was with the Bloodline all along.
There you go, yeah.
And never actually turned on Roman, thereby proving himself in the final test, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that scenario is pretty brilliant, and it really made Bully like stop and think for a second. That doesn't happen very often.
No. All right, so we're excited about that main event. There's a bunch of other matches that I look. We've got the Elimination Chamber matches. This week there was a qualifier. Bayley and Becky Lynch both lost to Bianca Belair, which eliminated them from the Elimination Chamber. And what we're getting is Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalia, and Carmella. And the winner goes on to face Bianca at WrestleMania for her Raw Women's title. I'm a huge fan of Asuka. We've been talking about her return for a long time. She's back. We're getting Dark Asuka, Evil Kana, whatever you want to call her. I just want to see her kick the shit out of everybody and come out of that the winner. That's it. Plain and simple.
Agreed, 100%.
Yep.
That.
And I also like, and this isn't part of the card tonight, but I do like what they're doing with Shayna and
it's
Ronda.
Nick in the chat. It's Nick in the chat. Yeah.
What's up, Nick?
Sorry. Yeah.
Got Nick.
Hey, there he is.
Davis. We got Sam Cleveland. All star.
Yep. Yeah, and we Mongrovian Mike too.
Yeah.
One of our favorite
man.
All the way from Monrovia.
The faceless man in the chat on the show tonight. He'll love that.
Oh
Scotty
God.
will love that. Scotty would love that.
Bunker. They're too big.
Anything for the pop.
Can't show off the beautiful things you left on my goddamn lawn.
Oh God.
You son of a bitch. Of course, when he left those things on the lawn, he leaves these big. I'll explain, everybody. He leaves big. He knows I hate Creed. He has "Hi neighbors," a big sign like a vote, like a campaign sign. "Hi neighbors, there's something you need to know. I, Mongrovian Mike, love Creed." And there's a big picture of Scott Stapp, and oh my God, he really he got me really good. I love him so much. I hate him.
I just can't believe Scotty drove halfway across Long Island just to troll you.
What is
with Scott Stapp memes?
Because I made fun of Bully Ray walking in on him taking a poop.
Oh my God.
Tremendous. Scotty's the best.
We love Scotty.
Love you, Scott.
Now I'm crying. You made me laugh.
Yeah. Okay, so
anyway,
on the card, we also have Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Judgment Day, Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley. And look, we're big fans of independent wrestlers. So this week we got to see this really cool video that they did. They posted on Raw. They posted on all their socials with Dominic and Rhea going to a restaurant. They had a reservation, and Ray and his wife had taken the reservation. There was some words, and you go back and watch the video. It's pretty funny. But what's cool about it is a lot of the people that we've run into, become fans of, were in this video. Kayla Sparks was there, Danny Mo, Facade, Victor Benjamin. There was somebody else last night that Jade was there. Man, just like almost everybody in the video has either. What, Mike?
What?
I thought someone said they saw Paro in the video.
I didn't see Paro.
Oh,
I don't know. He's pretty unmistakable.
You wouldn't miss.
He's a big dude.
I forgot everything after that 20-minute cheer for Sami. Like it went blank. Like that's all I see is him standing there and not having to say one damn word for nearly 15 freaking minutes.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool that in 2023 we're seeing Edge and Beth Phoenix both in ridiculous shape, ready to come in and kick ass against two of the biggest stars in the company. Judgment Day had a rocky start, but they really come into focus as a group. I really like what they've been doing. Who wins this match?
Oh God.
Thank you, Ari. Zeta Steel. I'm sorry,
God.
Zeta Steel was the other person.
I'm super conflicted on this one, but I almost think that Edge and Beth are going to take it.
Yeah.
And something's going to happen that leaves Finn and Rhea like in the ring throwing a temper tantrum.
Tony?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's made for Beth and Edge because Edge has had so many. I think it's because Edge has been gone for a while. He was off of TV for a while. He comes back now. He's got Beth by his side. Of course, they're going to win tonight. So I think they're going to take it.
Brian in the chat.
What's up, Brian?
Brian's voting for Rhea and Finn. I have to agree with Brian. I think they're the young talent. I think they're up and coming. Not up and coming. They've been around a minute, but like Beth and Edge have been around forever.
Yeah.
And I think that as veterans, working with the younger talent has been good for them. But I want to see the Judgment Day keep steamrolling forward.
Yeah, Rhea can't lose. Rhea can't lose because that she needs the momentum going into WrestleMania for her championship match. So even if the Judgment Day loses, it'll be Finn taking the pin, I guess maybe. But I don't see that. I see they're going to get enough cheers from the crowd for other Canadian stars that now they're going to get the boos. They're going to get the heat on they're going to get the heat on Judgment Day. Judgment Day needs more heat. And they're going to get it.
Okay. Our friend Nick in the chat has a really interesting proposition.
All right, pull that one up. Front row versus Denver. Fatal 4-way LaGreca tied to a pole match.
I'm gonna say I win.
So if you win,
because I've got boobs.
Okay, if I were to win, I would make Dave eat pineapple pizza.
Well, Nick Aldis already did that. Or no, was it Lance? It was Lance. Sorry. Lance Archer made LaGreca eat pineapple pizza at the Busted Open WrestleMania party last year.
Yeah, Nita Strauss did it a couple of years ago too, but I would make him do it again.
Yeah, and we've already done his power rankings for him, so we can't do that. So I mean, what else can we do?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He's already been speared through a pallet of beer cans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's something to think on.
All right. So on the men's side, we have Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford in the Elimination Chamber. This is for the United States Championship. It's interesting that a secondary title is being defended in the chamber. It's happened before, but it doesn't happen that often. Usually this is for Mania matches. So I think they're headed towards an Austin Theory, maybe a John Cena match at WrestleMania. I think Damian Priest is going to stay involved with the Judgment Day. I don't think he needs this title right now. Seth Rollins more than likely will end up with a Logan Paul match. And so Austin Theory, I think he's going to retain.
I would agree with that. I think there's no reason for Austin Theory to lose right now. As much as I would love Seth Rollins to win because I love him, I think he's better when he's chasing for the championship. So yeah, I would pick Austin Theory, and I would be totally in for Austin Theory versus Cena. Because I think really like Austin Theory is the new Cena. Like he's just got that aura about him.
That all-American look.
Yeah.
Brian.
Mongrovian Mike is entering the first ever geriatric battle royal. Probably
Actually,
not the
Mike
first
Jackson
one.
wins that.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so and the only match we haven't talked about, and I think is really fascinating to me because we have Brock versus Bobby, and then somehow inexplicably Bray Wyatt inserts himself into this conversation. I don't understand why. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. They have 6 weeks to tell that story. We know they advertised Firefly Funhouse for next week's SmackDown. That's returning, so I'm guessing we'll get more information then. I think Bobby wins here because I think Bobby goes on to do something with Bray, and I don't see Brock Lesnar being in any kind of gimmick match. That's not a Brock Lesnar thing. So, to me, I see Bobby coming out ahead.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds good.
agree.
So here's a question I want you guys to think about. If that's the case, who does Brock get at Mania, if anybody? Who's left?
I don't know.
I mean,
That's a
so
good question.
he did have a face-off with Gunther at the Rumble, right? So there's a possibility there, but I've also seen some stuff that maybe, I think Gunther even said that Brock didn't want to work with him. So we'll have to wait and see. That's whatever. It's not, we don't really care about that, but that was in an interview. So,
Yeah.
you know, you have Brock versus, you could do a triple threat with Drew and Sheamus. That'd be a slugfest. He could beat Braun up again, but that's happened before. So really, on the roster right now, the people who aren't in storylines, there's not a whole, I can't think of anybody else who is a credible threat to Brock, unless they bring someone in from the outside that we're unaware of.
I mean, there are rumors swirling around about various people that might possibly be interested in coming to WWE. I try to keep myself away from rumors just because I love to be legitimately surprised. Like, if someone jumps from one company to another, I want to be surprised by it. So I try to steer myself away from any rumors that may come about, not really think too much about it. But I guess it's a possibility that there's certain people from the outside that might come in and be a threat to Brock. Who knows? Who's to say?
It's a maybe.
At best. We're stupid.
We are.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's
then,
one word to describe us.
Right.
I mean, maybe Brock doesn't have a match at all at Mania. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe the card doesn't need him, but they have 2 nights to fill.
Yeah.
So I think they're still going to bring star power. They've already sold out, and not sold out, but they've already broken records. They don't need his star power to sell tickets at the venue at the stadium, but they could use it, you know, for Peacock subscriptions or whatever.
Well, you got a couple of tag team undercards that could go on. You have Braun and Ricochet have been teaming, so they could have a match, you know, because we're thinking of all these main events and everything, but they're gonna have to fill up, you know. And damn, so WrestleMania is what, like 6 hours each freaking night, and that's not even including the pre-shows and then everything else.
What about Randy? I know, you know, there's really been nothing said about if and when he can return. But what if he's able to return?
I mean, that would be cool. They would have to start telling that story right away. I don't know. Like, I don't know Randy or anybody that, you know, has any insight, but the stuff that I've seen is that he's had surgery not that long ago. So I don't know if he's going to return, but it would be a great surprise. It'd be really cool. I don't think Randy needs to work with the Brock. Randy's best use is continuing to work with younger talent because he did such a great job with Riddle.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think that's his spot right now, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
What if Braun Breaker comes up? I don't know if he's, you know, quite at that level yet, but
yeah, so that's interesting because we had this conversation with my other friend Sam earlier today, and it would be interesting to have him come up, but right now he's the NXT champion, right? So there's no real story to put him into a fight with Brock, unless Brock issued some sort of open challenge. But even so, people don't know who he is. Like it's the problem with bringing NXT people in as a surprise, especially in a high profile match like this, is the crowd they don't typically know who they are.
Right.
Like when we talked about the Rumble, bringing in a Jay White or Kenny Omega, like those are big names to the core fans, but most of the people who watch, especially on Peacock for the major pay-per-views, those are casual fans. They're not going to know what the hell to make of it. But I would like to see the match. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Another person that we've noticed on social media that's getting in great shape right now. I don't know if he's trying to get in the ring shape or whatever.
Tyrus.
But I know that we've said that that WWE doesn't need the legends. They need to build on what they have on the roster. But what if Stone Cold comes in and faces Brock at WrestleMania?
Brock Austin?
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. This time no walkout. This time no walkout.
No, I'm not mad at that idea. And it doesn't have to have a proper build because there's no title. But they do have history. So you can tell that story without having to get it, and you can keep them apart. Don't let them touch till Mania. No, I like that idea. It would certainly be money.
Yeah.
Like as in it would cost a lot of money for them to pay those two people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the card for tonight. Everyone's excited. Also happening tonight is Battle in the Valley, New Japan show. I'm so excited to see Mercedes Moné versus Kairi, the current IWGP Women's World Champion. I'm having a hard time predicting a winner because if I'm a fan of New Japan, I would like to see Kairi retain and build some equity into that brand new title. But man, they could really do a lot with Mercedes holding that title from a visibility standpoint. So all I know is we're going to get a great match because both of them are outstanding.
Right.
And, I'm sure Neil can keep me honest, but there's a lot of other good matches on the card too. So I think it's only like $20 on Fight.
It is. Yeah, I purchased it earlier. It's $20. So I have the card screenshotted.
Oh, cool.
So I can just do a quick rundown. So we have Okada versus Tanahashi for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And we have Kairi versus Mercedes for the Women's Championship. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Clark Connors for the New Japan TV title. Homicide versus Tom Lawler in a no ropes, no DQ match. That'll be interesting.
Dude, Filthy Tom Lawler is insane. That's going to be a good one.
Eddie Kingston versus Jay White in a loser leaves New Japan match. That's interesting.
Okay, put a pin in that real quick because our good friend Emily May was out at the press conference today and Eddie Kingston stormed that press conference.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
I have to watch that.
Go back and watch it. It's incredible.
Okay. Motor City Machine Guns versus Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs for the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team titles. I'm not sure who the other two guys are, but I like Motor City Machine Guns. Fred Rosser versus Kenta.
Royce Isaacs used to be one half of the NWA Tag Team champions back in the first couple seasons of Power with Tom Latimer.
Okay.
But he's done big things in New Japan since going there.
Okay. So we have Fred Rosser versus Kenta for the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. We heard Fred Rosser the other day on Busted Open. So that I'm really excited for that match. I haven't seen Fred Rosser wrestle in a while. I just haven't really watched, anything that he's been on in the past few years. And then we have Josh Alexander, Rocky Romero, Adrian Quest, and Mascara Dorada. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Versus Kushida, Kevin Knight, Valador Jr., and the DKC. So, great card. A bunch of matches that I'm actually super excited about, even though I don't really watch New Japan.
And a late addition to the card, a match that was just announced, Ariel Helwani versus Tony Khan. in a street fight. I'm kidding.
In a snowball fight.
A snowball's chasing hell.
Oh my god.
Look, Ariel Hawani is my favorite person today. I love what he did on social media. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love how some of the people we love deflect about it. Like, I think it means this. Yeah.
No, it definitely means what we think it means.
But it meant,
Yeah.
it meant what it meant.
But I got to give Fred Rosser, man. He's been in UWN, he's been in New Japan, he's been all over the place since leaving WWE. Built like just this great legacy for himself and his Block the Hate campaign. Obviously, as an ally, I'm a big fan of. But he's a cool person, and I really am excited to see him continue to get more of a spotlight.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just wanted to mention, if you guys didn't watch it, there was a video released from Mercedes Moné with some behind the scenes footage. It's about 22 minutes long-ish, behind the scenes footage of her preparing for her debut in New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom. It really, really gives you a different perspective on, you know, what she was doing there, what she hopes to accomplish in Japan, you know, her dreams, her goals. You know, I remember when she debuted at Wrestle Kingdom, there was a lot of people saying, well, the Japanese audience doesn't necessarily know who she is. There wasn't an insane pop like if she would have debuted at, you know, another company here in America. But that video gives you a whole different perspective on it. And it really, really made me happy for her and proud of her for, you know, chasing other dreams. Like, she's been in WWE for so long. She's made a ton of money. She doesn't have to worry about the money at this point. But just to, you know, bet on herself and get out of her comfort zone. She could have stayed in WWE and just collected a massive paycheck, but she chose to try to fulfill other dreams. So I'm happy for her.
Yeah, and she's been doing this a minute. Like, I really like what she's been doing, having little breadcrumb interactions with people from other companies. She's been interacting with people in Impact, NWA. I think she said something to Camille the other day. Like, she's just leading all these things just to see what interaction and what reaction they're going to get from the fans. Mm-hmm. And I think she could do a world tour. I think she could go to a bunch of different places and, you know, continue to build her legacy. Does she come back to WWE? I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want to. Maybe she wants to do 5 years of high profile matches and then, you know, continue to do stuff in Hollywood. The new season of Mandalorian's coming out and she's in that. So,
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Cool. All right, guys. We should give everybody a few minutes to go get their snacks and stuff ready. Anything else you guys want to cover?
No.
Good. Okay, awesome. Well, I thank everybody in the chat for joining us tonight. Everybody that's watching on replay, well, you should have watched it on time. No, but please like and subscribe. Make sure you set those notifications. Tony, where can people find you?
You can find me at Tony Justice, AJFA on Twitter. And if you're a Metallica fan, you know what that means. Ooh, ah.
Ooh, yeah.
Deb?
I am at That's So Debonair on the Twitter machine and on Instagram.
Awesome. Mike?
How do you do your fingers like that?
I'm in the great beyond. Listen to this. This is my life and career.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I had to pop everybody. There you go.
Thanks.
The old man couldn't make it even 45 fucking minutes, but thank God I wasn't on screen.
Stay classy.
Fuck you, San Diego.
Jesus.
Well, on that note, I am Front Row, PW Front Row across all the socials. You can find our show at Nation's Corner on Twitter, at the Nation's Corner across all social media. You can also find me on Thursday nights on the Mission Pro Wrestling YouTube channel, where we're doing the Unmatched series. We did a breakdown of Kickstart My Heart this past week. Next week, we'll be diving more into the archives of some of the older Mission Pro specials, pay-per-views, and highlighting some of the cool matches there. So check us out on Thursdays. And make sure you listen to Busted Open, because I think Monday and Tuesday are going to be really interesting after this pay-per-view. So
if you don't listen to watch our show, Beavis and Butt have got something to say to you.
You dumbass.
goodbye.